Tonight on Connecticut's news station, college president resigns. We'll tell you why the leader of one school in our state is stepping aside after pressure from students.
Temperatures were in the 60s a couple times this week, but you wouldn't know that by looking at tomorrow's forecast. A cold rain could start as a wintry mix in parts of the state. The timing and what it means for the weekend coming up.
Also, deadly eye drops as the CDC warns about artificial tears. We're hearing from Connecticut doctors about the problems they can cause.
And historic Husky Day in the heat of March Madness.
It's amazing, man. Being in this position, you dream about it as a kid.
Been kind of waiting all year for this opportunity.
We have live coverage to get you ready for two crucial games for the UConn men and women.
Now at 10, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
We begin at 10 on the Weather Watch tonight. We are tracking a cold and rainy start to the weekend. Here's a look at the radar from the Weather Watch Center. Even though it was a warmer week overall, some places in Connecticut could see a brief wintry mix tomorrow. Good evening. I'm Jen Bernstein.
And I'm Ben Goldman. Thanks for joining us here at 10. You may have wanted to say that winter was completely gone, especially after, Wednesday and Thursday this week. But some spots in our state could get a small taste of winter tomorrow.
We want to get right over to Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank for a first look at the forecast. Rach.
Hi, guys. Yeah, we're not expecting much, if any, impact from that because temperatures will be too warm. But even just to see a few snowflakes or sleet pellets for some mentally who are ready to just move into spring, it can be a little bit tough. Here's a look at the system that's heading our way. We'll get about a half an inch or even a little bit less out of the system as we head through the day tomorrow. Temperatures are in the 40s right now, so it's still mild, but we'll see overnight lows dipping back into the 30s. And as we head through the day tomorrow, we'll have a lot of clouds out there, areas of fog and mist and drizzle and showers becoming more numerous, especially as we head through the late morning and right into the evening hours. Initially, again, especially in the morning, some could see a few snowflakes or sleet pellets, but again, we're not expecting much of an impact out of that. And then we're just expecting those off and on rain showers as we head through your Saturday. So Saturday is more of an inside kind of day, right? Getting your laundry done. But Sunday makes up for it. We're going to break back into sunshine. Temperatures are going to soar up around 60 degrees. We'll keep an eye on what we have in store for next week. Your full forecast coming up.
All right, thank you, Rachel. Well, we are following breaking news out of Hartford right now. Police tell us a man was injured in a shooting there. They say it happened on Ashley Street, and officers first got a call about it just after 6:30 this evening. The man is in his 20s and was taken to a hospital. He is expected to survive his injuries.
We're also following some breaking news tonight. Police say that somebody was stabbed at Norwalk High School. We're told it happened on the school's football field, and it was after classes were over. Officers found a suspect behind Nathan Hale Middle School, and they found a knife that he had thrown away, allegedly, while trying to escape.
And breaking tonight out of Norwich, a car crashed into a parked car and a Thai restaurant in the middle of dinner. Norwich firefighters say it happened at the Love Thai by Thai on Route 32 around 7:45 this evening. The driver and two people inside of the restaurant suffered minor injuries. Police say that driver was charged with DUI. The restaurant had to close for the night, but city inspectors are helping the owners get some lumber so it can hopefully reopen this weekend. We'll, of course, bring you any updates on these breaking news stories as soon as we get them.
Arguably the biggest story here this weekend, new at 10, the president of Connecticut College stepping down after weeks of calls for her to resign.
Yes, students, faculty, and staff protested several times after they were concerned about a planned fundraising event.
Fox 61's Gabby Molina joining us now in studio to explain this whole situation. Gabby?
Ben and Jen, President Catherine Bergeron announced today that she will be resigning at the end of this semester. It's something that several members of the campus community have been calling for. After weeks of protests demanding the resignation of Connecticut College's president, Catherine Bergeron announced Friday that she'll be stepping down. In a statement, she said in part, "Certainly the road has not always been easy. It never is when the work is so important and the goal so ambitious. The past several weeks have proven particularly challenging, and as president, I fully accept my share of responsibility for the circumstances that have led us to this moment." Earlier this year, the school's Dean of Institutional Equity and Inclusion resigned after the college scheduled a fundraising event at a Florida country club that had been accused of discrimination and anti-Semitism in the past.
Dean King's resignation was the straw that broke the camel's back, and we decided that that was the last straw.
That sparked protests about what students called a need for institutional change. The group, Student Voices for Equity, created a list of demands that included hiring more Black, Indigenous, and people of color faculty and staff, more resources, and the president's resignation.
More than anything, this is about an institutional culture of inequity and inequality. And we know that Connecticut College is not the only institution that faces it.
Faculty and staff showed their support for students' protests, canceling classes while students occupied an administrative building for days. In response to Bergeron's announcement, Student Voices for Equity released a statement that reads in part, "The resignation of Catherine Bergeron is a result of collective efforts to invoke positive change at this institution. We are hopeful that this step will allow us to move forward as a community." In its statement, the Board of Trustees listed Bergeron's accomplishments in her 9 years as president, including creating the college's first division of institutional equity and inclusion and enrolling the largest first-year class in the college's history, saying in part, "The board thanks President Bergeron for her visionary leadership and steadfast commitment to Connecticut College." The Board of Trustees says it will be naming an interim president and creating a search committee for the next president, made up of students, staff, faculty, and trustees. In the studio, Gabby Molina, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Gabby, thank you. Following new details tonight about an incident at Bradley Airport earlier this month when a plane passenger named Dana Hyde was flying in a business jet. The National Transportation Safety Board released their findings. The report says that there were multiple caution messages for various issues, but Hyde was not injured until the engine indicating and crew alerting system went off and the plane pitched abruptly. Hyde was given medical attention. The plane was diverted to Bradley. She later died at the hospital.
Tomorrow, many people from Hartford and across Connecticut will say goodbye to the state's first female mayor. Ann Usello died at the age of 100 last week. A wake was held in her memory this evening. Usello was elected as mayor of the capital city back in 1967. Her funeral will be held at St. Patrick's St. Anthony Church in downtown Hartford tomorrow morning at 11.
Newington police making an arrest in connection with a shooting that happened over the summer. Mikola Szwarek is accused of firing a bullet into a home on John Street on July 13th. That bullet went into the bedroom of a 9-year-old and went through the bed frame. The child was not injured. Szwarek is now being held on a $150,000 bond.
And tonight at the Capitol, Connecticut lawmakers are advancing a bill that would ban TickTock for state government devices. Several other states have put similar bans in place over national security concerns about the app. This comes after TickTock's CEO testified to Congress yesterday. The Connecticut bill passed out of its committee earlier today.
If you have that level of data about Americans, you can develop as a foreign adversary highly important information that can undermine the national security of the United States potentially.
I get concerned that we are going to be back here banning yet another company. This is an issue that's going to evolve as social media evolves even further.
2 amendments to the TickTock bill failed, but many Democratic and Republican lawmakers joined together to advance it. Also at the Capitol, a bill looking to authorize hunting of black bears in the state is not going forward for a vote. The Environmental Committee was discussing a proposal that would allow a hunting lottery to start in Litchfield County. It comes after we've seen a record number of bear home break-ins and 2 reported attacks on humans last year. Connecticut is the only Northeast state with a breeding bear population that doesn't allow bear hunting. All right, also new at 10, we are hearing from the UConn men as they're preparing to face Gonzaga in the Elite Eight of the NCAA tournament.
The Huskies trying to make their 6th Final Four. Tomorrow is an enormous day for UConn Nation since the women play in the Sweet 16 as well. Fox 61 Sports Director Jonah Karp joining us live in Las Vegas with the UConn men and Gonzaga. Zags will face off tomorrow. Hi, Jonah.
Hi guys, this Las Vegas trip for UConn men's basketball has been nothing short of eventful. The team changing hotel rooms because of unsuitable conditions, and the Huskies confirming that while the team was at practice, there were personal items stolen from the team bus. A busy 48 hours that didn't affect UConn's performance against Arkansas.
It was unexpected, I'm not gonna lie. Like, our first day in Vegas, we had like 2 incidents happen, and it wasn't pleasant, and I was like, this can't how our Vegas trip go, and I'm glad we got the big one yesterday.
It's the first 48 hours in Vegas, but I mean, we came here to get the Final Four, so we can't let anything distract us.
Yeah, that's in the past. I'm really not worried about that right now. We're just trying to worry about tomorrow's game.
A lot of the guys, we're strong through it, and didn't let it phase them, obviously, considering the way we played yesterday. So we were just locked in on the game.
It was kind of crazy, the whole bus thing, but I think everything worked out. The guys got their stuff back, so it's all good. Yeah.
And so now the attention turns to the next game, a date with Gonzaga with a trip to the Final Four on the line. We'll have more on that contest coming up at 11. Live at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Jonah Karp, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Wow, tough start to Vegas. All right, Jonah, thank you very much. Well, we're going to have much more coverage of UConn in March Madness later on the Fox 61 News at 10. We are going to hear from women's coach Gino Auriemma as the Huskies also prepare for the Sweet 16 up in Seattle. We'll also break down the men's Elite Eight opponent, Gonzaga.